Hello and welcome to the podcast. I cannot believe actually that I'm sitting here right now recording this. It feels surreal. This is something that I have been thinking about doing for so long. And I can't believe that it has actually come to fruition. And it's been one of those things, honestly, where I'm kind of taking my own advice, right? That I'm always teaching my students. That's take the messy action, start imperfect. It's okay to be a beginner. Be okay with being a beginner. Be okay with feeling like an imposter. It's when we're in our most uncomfortable moments that we're stretched and that we're refined and that we grow. So I decided to jump into starting this podcast, The Growth Game with Bree Groves, because I want to give you real and actionable tools and real life examples to make building a business just seem a lot less overwhelming. I want you to know that you don't have to be an expert, that you don't have to be perfect from the get-go, but if you have a passion, if you have a desire, if you have a thing or things in your heart that you want to do, if you have a message that you want to get out there to other people, there's a reason that that's there and the world needs to hear it. And I want to pull that out of you. I want you to know that you are meant for more. I want you to know that you can do so much more than you think is possible because there's greatness on the inside of you. So that is my heart with this podcast. What you won't get out of this podcast is stuffy, scripted content. I love chatting and having conversations with women, and I want this to feel like you can just pull up a seat and you can talk to me and like we are best friends talking business, okay? Most of this isn't going to be scripted. This is just going to be me speaking from my heart, teaching you what I've learned in the last year, making over $1 million with my own low-ticket digital products in ways that are not the norm, that aren't the ways that you typically see online. But that's just proof that you have something unique. I knew that I had something unique in my heart that I wanted to pursue. And when I finally said enough is enough, I'm going to pursue things with my whole heart, the things in my heart. I am going to not fearlessly, because we always have fear, regardless of the fear, I'm going to chase after those things. Amazing things started to happen. So what I want to do in this episode today is walk you through a little bit of my personal journey of how I got here, how I ended up making $1 million in low ticket digital product sales. Low ticket meaning less than $200, actually mostly less than $100 digital product sales using Instagram. Okay. Let me also say that this did not happen overnight and this did not happen quickly. I have been at this for a long time and I did this with my own digital products. I didn't do this reselling a course or with affiliate marketing or anything like that. I did this by building my own personal brand and creating and selling my own digital products based on my passions and my expertise, which I absolutely love. So let's take you back to the beginning of little Bree, who was scared and afraid, but had this deep desire inside of her for more. I remember being a teenager, being 16 or 17, and Googling ways to start your own business, ways to make money online. I had a drive. I knew I wanted to make an impact. I knew I wanted to help people, but I just didn't know how. And back then, there really wasn't that much opportunity on the internet, okay? Because we're talking a long time. That was a long time ago, right? You know, my first kind of jab at starting my own business was when I decided to start a fashion blog. Really started it as more of a hobby, simply because I've always loved clothes. I love fashion. I just think it's so fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a blog and just have a fun place to take pictures and share my style. So I did that. It was a simple WordPress blog. I took pictures of my outfits and started sharing regularly, consistently, okay, which is key with success in any online business, any business really. And pretty quickly, it started to gain traction. I started to get emails for collaborations. I remember one specific lady who was a stylist in Hollywood who wanted to work with me, and that was super cool. I made cool connections, and I did get some paid brand deals, but it was, $50 for this blog post, $100 for this blog post. So it wasn't really monetized, but it definitely taught me a lot about showing up online. Okay. Then fast forward, I had my son, who is now 10. I had my first baby, and the blog completely fell through the cracks. I gained 50 pounds while I was pregnant. And as a lot of us women do, I was so hard on myself for that, not having the appreciation that I have for my body and love for my body that I have now. I was so insecure. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to be taking pictures of myself because my clothes didn't fit the way I wanted them to. All of the things, let alone he had reflux. He wasn't sleeping. I vividly remember the first time that he slept 5 hours through the night, like a solid 5 hours, was when he was 5 months old. So it was literally like 3 to 4 hour pockets of sleep for 5 months. So we were in survival mode. The blog fell through the cracks, and it just kind of stopped there. I was working full time. I had to go back to work after 7 weeks of maternity leave, which was unpaid maternity leave because I needed to be paid. My husband and I were both working full time, and we needed my income. We were living paycheck to paycheck, and I had a C-section that I wasn't even fully recovered from. But I went back to work after 7 weeks. Completely gutted me. I remember bawling my eyes out the first time I had to go back to work and leave my sweet little 7-week-old baby boy at home. And I, at the time, thought this is just the way it is, right? This is just how it's going to be. Fast forward to having my daughter about a little over 2 years later, and same thing, brought her home. This time I took 8 weeks off, but then I had to go back to work. Still living paycheck to paycheck, still struggling financially, both me and my husband working full time, but I did cut back my hours a little bit. And that's when I started to think I need to do something different, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I want more for my life than this. I enjoyed my job and I loved the people that I worked with, but I wanted to be home with my kids. And at the same time, I knew that I was meant for more. So now I almost look back on it as a blessing, because it pushed me forward to do something different. It pushed me outside of my comfort zone to start exploring other options, okay? So I thought, I gotta do something different. I don't know what the different thing is gonna be, but I gotta do something different, okay? So what I did was I came across a lady who is amazing on social media, who was teaching other people how to start an e-commerce business. And if you don't know what an e-commerce business, that's a business that sells physical products online, okay? And I thought, oh, I wonder if I could do that. And because I loved clothes so much, I was like, oh, maybe I could start my own online clothing boutique and I could sell clothes. So I took a massive leap and invested in a $1,000 course that I did not have $1,000 for. I mean, I'm telling you, like, our income after groceries and bills and everything was like maybe $75. Like, we did not have leftover money. So that was a huge investment. And I actually remember asking my mom if I could put the payments on her credit card. It was like $300 a month for 3 months or something like that, 4 months. And I was like determined. I'm like, I've got to pay back this $300 to my mom. And I need to make this money back so I can make back my investment. So having that skin in the game was a blessing in disguise, because it made me take the action. It made me do the actual things. And that's exactly what I did. I learned and I implemented. I did the hard work. Even though I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, I did the thing. There were a few nights a week where I decided I'm going to stay up and work for a couple hours while my kids are in bed. I did this while I was still working my job, but I ended up learning, right? Creating. I launched my own women's clothing boutique. And I decided I'm going to go all in on Instagram, because I already had been using Instagram just for fun. I had used it a little bit with my fashion blog in the past, and it was the platform I knew the most. So I was like, I'm going to go all in and grow this thing on Instagram. And that's what I did. I sourced the products. And actually what I did first was I did a pre-sale, which is very smart in the digital product world also to do a pre-sale where I said, hey, these are the items that I'm going to have in my store. If you want to buy them now before they're actually here, you can get a discount. So I actually got money rolling in to pay for the product. So I never was having to go in debt for products, okay? Long story short, I launched that on Instagram to a new account, 0 followers, and I think I had only around 200 followers when I launched. I think I teased it for about a month, and I said, this is when my boutique is launching, this is when it's launching, and I talked about it all the time, much like the strategies I teach when you're launching a digital product. And within the first 45 days, I did over $6,000 in sales, which blew my mind because that was like way, way more than mine and my husband's income combined. And I did it myself, and I created my own business. It was like, oh my gosh, this works. I saw the writing on the wall, and it opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me. Now, it wasn't without struggle. It wasn't without hard times. There's definitely things about e-commerce that I didn't love. In any business, there's going to be things you don't love. I did not like the shipping. The margins are a lot lower than digital products, which is part of the reason why I started digital products, because the margins are so insanely high. But it was a massive part of my journey, and I truly would not be where I am today if I hadn't taken that first step to do something messy, do something I've never done before, and just be willing to learn and implement, just like I'm doing with this podcast right now, right? If you're not learning, if you're not doing new things, you're not growing. We should always be pursuing growth. So after running that boutique for a couple years, successfully scaling it to multiple 6 figures, having collaborations with successful influencers and big names and all of the things, I started to get a lot of questions from other people who owned e-commerce businesses who were like, how are you making all these sales organically on Instagram? Because I've never run a paid ad in my life for my boutique. It was all organic. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I could teach you. And that's when I started to create some digital products. So my first few digital products were courses that taught people who sold physical products how to sell and market their products on Instagram, okay? And that grew. And for a while I was doing both, and I was really, really torn between the two, but I started to feel burnt out and overwhelmed, and both businesses were starting to suffer because like I had one foot in, one foot out. I was pulled in so many directions that I finally decided, you know what, I gotta choose. I gotta choose one direction to go in, and it was probably one of the hardest decisions of my life to close down my boutique because it was my baby, because it was the thing that showed me what was possible. Oh, and P.S., this is an important thing to note that I didn't mention. I was able to quit my job with that boutique. I was able to quit my job, stay home with my babies because I was able to replace my income and more with the boutique money. So at this point, I already was home with my babies, which so grateful for, so much gratitude for. And now I'm in a place where do I quit the boutique that's gotten me to this place that feels secure, that feels known, or do I go towards where my heart is leading me, which is to helping more women, helping more people sell their products on Instagram and get more results. And I took the scary option. And a lot of times, scary option is the right option. And a lot of times where your heart is leading you is in the most scary place, right? But a lot of times it's the right place. So I did that. I closed down my boutique and went all in on digital products. Now, that was about, oh gosh, how many years ago? Okay, years and years ago. Since then, I have put out dozens of digital product offers, okay? So many things. And let me just say, if you have put out digital product offers before, if you've created a product and it's flopped, good for you. Good for you, okay? The difference between you succeeding and failing is you not quitting, okay? You have to go through the stinky, sucky launches to get to the great ones. You just have to learn by experience, okay? So when something doesn't work out like you want it to, I just want to encourage you and remind you that you're learning, okay? When you're in the beginning stages of a business, everything is data. You cannot take things personally, okay? So that's what I did. Well, for a while, I did things the way all the experts told me to. So I had the $497 course and I ran the ads to challenges and things like that, and ran 3-day challenges, and then pitched my course and sold my course. Now it worked, but not at the level that I wanted it to. I maybe made a few $1,000s every time I did that, okay? And it just didn't feel aligned for me personally. There's so many people who use that model and love it and absolutely kill it. It just didn't sit right with me. I was like, I think there's a different way for me to do this. And I was like, I want to do low ticket. I want to do a low ticket offer. So I literally burned down my entire business model, started over from scratch, and decided I'm going to go all in on teaching women how to create their own digital products just like me. I'm going to do it with a low ticket offer and lower the barrier of entry to women, because that was really my heart, is I want everyone to do this and I want everyone to know that this is truly possible for them. So I gave myself a full year to allow myself to just put out content, put out offers that felt fun to me in the moment without being attached to the outcome. And that's one of the best things that I did, because it allowed me to test and to try and to see what my audience wanted and what they didn't want and what they liked and what they didn't like and what I liked and didn't like. And eventually I created my passive profit playbook. Okay, my low ticket, when I started over from scratch, digital product, and I launched that into the world a little over a year ago at this point right now as I'm recording this, and it ended up being my thing that got me to $1 million. But let me say, when I launched that product, I launched it to crickets. But instead of deciding to bounce to another offer or bounce to something else or try something else, I said, you know what? I'm going to go all in on this thing because I really believe in it, and I'm going to give it the best chance that I know how. I'm going to talk about this thing every stinking day on my Instagram. I'm going to make a reel every day saying the same thing over and over and over again. And it took me about 3 months of doing that to start getting sales rolling in weekly, eventually daily, okay? And then things started to snowball. Things really started to pick up because of the compounded action that I took over 3 months, saying the same thing over and over again, unapologetically, not caring what people think, showing up to help other women, sharing my story, sharing my message. Eventually, people started to pay attention. And at that point, my following was about 17,000 people. It's grown to over 102,000 people now at this point, because I decided to go all in on my product and talking about my product shamelessly and unapologetically on Instagram. And between now and then, I've created multiple offers, and I just kept listening to my audience. What else do you want to know? So I did a class on Reels. What else do you want to know? Oh, we want to know more about how to make sales on stories. So I did a class on stories. Then people were like, how can I get more like support and mentorship from you as I'm going through the passive profit playbook? So I created a membership. And then I created a high ticket product for women who are going through my program, getting the results, making thousands, some hundreds of thousands per month, who are ready for high level coaching, for high level scaling. So now I have this amazing offer suite or offer ladder that supports different women at different parts of their journey where they're at right now. I have the offers for women who are total beginners who can get results, low barrier to entry. I have the membership, I have the mid ticket, and then I have the high ticket. And now I have a business ecosystem that brought in over $1 million in a year. Okay, but I want to go back. What that has done for my family, you guys, what that has done for our life, I can't even put into words, because we were living paycheck to paycheck. We were trying to send our kids, we were scraping by sending our kids to the school that we send them to, because it was important for us that they go to that school. I had big dreams on my vision board of being able to take trips and do things without having to feel the weight of financial burden, right? We don't have that anymore. We paid off all of our debt. We don't have to worry about finances. We don't have to worry about money. We can help other people. We can give to other people who are in need. And I can project in my business and know what's going to be coming in 1, 2, 3, 4 months from now because of the way that I've structured things. And I'm just so passionate about helping other people learn how to do this and know that you don't have to have it all figured out. As a matter of fact, I'd rather you not. Because actually my students and clients who think they have it all figured out are the ones who really struggle because they overthink. Take the messy action. Start with a low ticket digital product. What is the thing that you love? What is something that I always like to say, if you could get paid limitless amounts of income to do one thing, what would that thing be? Usually that's your digital product. Okay. And with research and educating yourself and with strategy, you can truly sell almost anything. I have a student who has made multiple 6 figures teaching people how to start mobile bartending businesses. My sister has made, I think last I checked, it was 150,000, maybe it was 175,000. I can't remember the exact numbers now. She's an artist and she teaches people how to sell their art on Etsy. Okay. I have students making thousands in the niche of toddler nutrition, in fitness niches, in homesteading niches. Okay. There's so many things that you can do. So that's the gist of my story. I can't believe the doors that have been opened for me. It seems fast, right? It seems like so much has happened in the last year, but it's because I've been laying the foundations for a long time, for years and years and years, and I've just never given up. And I promise you, if you don't give up, if you keep trying, if you don't take things personally, if you're willing to improve, if you're willing to implement, there's no limit to what you can do. And that is my whole goal. That is my whole mission with this podcast, the growth game. It's a game, okay? And I want you to win it. And it can be fun. And honestly, that's how I've had fun in business is let's gamify this. Let's see, maybe this will work. Maybe this won't work. Let's try this strategy. And it gets to be fun. But I want to help you grow in your business, grow in your social media, and grow as a person. I heard a quote the other day where someone said that owning a business and growing a business is the biggest personal development journey that you will ever be on. And that is so true. And 90% of business is mindset. 90% of business is your belief. And that's when things clicked for me, was when I said, you know what? My dreams are bigger than my fears. The things that I want for my life are bigger than my fears. Yes, it's scary to quit my job and think about starting something new, but I want to be home with my babies. I don't want to live this life anymore. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. No one's going to change this for me. No one's going to change my life for me. I have to do something. And I want you to know, and it sounds so cliche, but if I can do this, so can you. All I have is a desire in my heart and a passion to pursue it. And yes, I feel afraid. Yes, I feel scared, but I've learned to lean into those fears because the best things in life are truly on the other side of fears. And when you feel a fear about something, most of the time that's a cue that you need to run towards it instead of run away from it, because there's something really special on the other side. There's an opportunity for growth for you. There's an opportunity for more for you. And there's more than you could ever imagine. I could have never dreamed up all of the things that I've experienced in this past year, not just financially, but the connections that I've gained, the growth that I've had, the fulfillment in my soul, the lifestyle for my family that I know will span decades and will span generations, right? You have to make those things bigger than, oh, what are people going to think about me? Or, oh, what are they going to say about me? Or what if I embarrass myself? Who cares? Who cares? You are worth it. Your dreams are worth it. And I want you to know that it's possible. So that's what we're going to be talking about in all of these podcast episodes. I hope that you feel encouraged. I hope that you feel inspired. And I hope that you walk away from this feeling more like you can do it, because you can. You're capable of more than you know. and just start. I just want to encourage you to just start. Take the messy action, invest in the course, invest in the program, read the book, learn, and then start to implement, just like I'm doing right now with my podcast. I've been waiting weeks to record this, and I finally decided, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to have the perfect outfit on. I don't have to have the perfect setting. I'm just gonna get on and do the thing and share my heart. So I'm so excited to be on this growth journey with you. I'll see you in the next episode.